Once upon a time, I know major cliche, there was a boy who lived as the middle child with his sisters and was a fan or moemon playing the game on a moonlit night off the computer. Power down, you little bastard, his older sister said, slamming her fist on the computer butt. I just evolved me main ghastly into a hunter. Can this wait a little bit longer? The boy protested. Mom and Dad are out, so I'm in charge and you go to bed. When I tell you, the elder sister barked, embodying the worst of Lori Loud. The younger sister skipped into the room, must enraged that her older brother did not come down to watch her practice ballet, something that he never even agreed to. You missed my ballet recital, as she slammed her soda can on her brother's desk that hit his computer, while embodying the worst of Lola Loud, getting soda all over the computer and some dripping inside the motherboard, causing it to crash. My computer. You have any idea we've done, you stupid brat? I just lost hours of hard work and level grinding thanks to you. I know you think you're some princess, but would it kill you? Watch where you're putting things when you were in somebody else's room, the boy shouted out. Enough, Mom and Dad are out. I'm in charge, so if I say it's time for bed, then it's time for bed, the elder sister demanded. So what's it gonna be? Are you going to go to bed, or do you like it here so much that I should tell Mom and Dad that you were an unruly little brat and you can be grounded for a month? She continued. All right, fine, the boy said with anger in his voice. Hours later, the boy had long since gone to bed, but as the night when I met, a heavy storm rolled and thunder and lightning ruled the sky as a lightning bolt struck one of the power cores words attached to the fuse box of the house the boy lived in. As he slept in his room, the screen of his broken computer began to glow as his ghastly and newly evolved hunter floated out of it. Those girls were mean to Master, Ghastly said. It was disgust in her voice for her master's sisters. Don't worry, we're here now and we'll fix them. We'll make it all better, Hunter replied. The younger sister woke up in the middle of the night at the sound of the giggling of a very young little girl around her age. I've come to play. Won't you play with me? The voice said. The younger sister got out of bed and walked into the hallway, where she saw the little girl wearing a dark purple dress with bright lavender hair. Earth, you're a meanie, she said to the boy's sister, and many's like you deserve to be punished epically when her mommy and Daddy won't. The hallway began to flash in a blur of purples in the yellow lights. What's going on? What are you doing? The younger sister said. Ghastly giggled and said, why, I'm putting the evil stepsister to sleep. Meanwhile, the older sister awoke. She found herself confronted by a girl who seemed to be around the same age as her, wearing a dark violet and white maid uniform. What a mess. It's like a pig night style in this room. You really are a slob, she said to the older sister. Who are you? I'm calling the police, the older sister said to the spiritual maid, clearly scared out of her mind. But the teenage maid from beyond the grave stared at the older sister, her eyes glowing red. Meanwhile, in the hallway, Ghastly locked eyes with the younger sister. You've been a mini since the day you were born, and you'll never be anything more. You're not a good sister. Master deserves a good sister, she said. Stop, please, I'll do anything, the younger sister begged. It's too late. You were nothing but a spoiled brat. Nice the day you were born, so I'm here to take over for you, Ghastly said with a mischievous little chuckle. "Get away from me, what do you want from me?" the older sister cried out in terror. "Your life, or more precisely your body," Hunter replied as her glowing red eyes locked onto those of the older sister, sending her into a deep hypnotic trance. The next day the boy woke up to the sight of his two sisters serving him breakfast in bed. "I'm so sorry that I broke your computer, and I've already set up a gig selling tickets for people to watch me perform so I can raise the money to buy you an even better computer with moemon already installed on it," the younger sister said, "and I've cleaned my room, and now I'm going to clean your room, and then I'm going to clean the rest of the whole damn house," the older sister said in an almost manic. Hours later around noon, and the boy watched the latest episode of the moemon anime on TV that his older sister had personally installed in his bedroom. Whilst in the living room, the sisters began a discussion about the future. "So, Hunter, do you think Master bought it?" Ghastly said, having possessed the younger sister. "I don't think he cares." Ghastly, a better question is how his master lasted this long in this world. Hunter, that bathroom, it's scarier than Lavender Town, she continued, as the two moemon continued to have a friendly conversation, as they get used to their new lives in their new host bodies. Disneyland, the overpriced food at the overpriced raw eggs, and to mention it costs you nearly a fortune to get in. Currently there was a boy who was a big fan of moemon sitting in Disneyland's detention center here and wanted to go on any of the ride needs. He more or less wanted to relax on his summer vacation and play moemon. He knew that his most involved moemon were far better looking than any princess that Disney had to offer, and way more fun to work. He was not happy to be there. The sister threw a tantrum earlier over wanting to meet her favorite Disney princess, something that indirectly got the boy locked up in the detention center and his laptop confiscated. As these things tend to go, he was not in a happy manner. "Let me out, in costumed jerks. They just evolved my category evolve into a lackism," the boy screamed out. Disney's security, however, was not in the mood to listen. But, as these things go, with the boy's laptop sat in the convention center, and as it sat there, the costumed moemons who constructed it the thing were apparently too stupid to turn it all off, as the screen began to glow an ominous purple glow, as the boy's moemon began to emerge from the laptop one by one. The members of Disney's security who actually saw this happen ran out scared, praying that it was all just a horrible nightmare. But unbeknownst to them, Disneyland's ultimate PR nightmare had just begun. "We must find Master Venusaur," said. "I'll find him using my psychic powers," Alakazam replied, "but they won't just let him go. Not unless we cause some trouble," Jengar said. "Then, let's go make some trouble," Gyarados replied. And so Venusaur and Florian went off on two women mission to rescue their master, while the other members of their team deciding to instigate the worst possible public relations scenario Disneyland would ever face. In the middle of Disneyland times of little girls who forced their parents to take them there, including the boy's sister, were ecstatic to get their photos taken with their favorite Disney princesses. As for moemon lurked in the shadows, one of the actresses dressed up as Cinderella was about to go out and have her photos taken with the little girls, but what she didn't know was she was in for a really big and identity-stealing surprise, as she couldn't get out of her chair. The former moemon stepped into the room. Don't bother, I used disable to turn off the part of your brain that would allow you to get up. Alakazam said. You're up, slime girl, Jengar said in a smug tone. Don't call me that, Jirto replied, as she transformed into the actress wearing her Cinderella costume outside in the bustling theme park that was Disneyland. Who these little girls thought was Cinderella came to take their picture with them, when she stepped on one of their feet, causing that little girl to cry, as she then got punched. The girl's mother right in the stomach, kneed her in the face and then shoved her backwards. The man in the Mickey Mouse suit instantly grabbed a hold of her when suddenly he was grabbed from behind by Gyarados and tossed directly into the air. Meanwhile, Venusaur and Florian were breaking into Disneyland's detention center. Master better be in here, Florian said. Don't worry, Alakazam's clairvoyance has never been wrong yet, Venusaur replied. At another part of the park, Wayfarer other girls were about to get their pictures taken with Rapunzel, one of the latest additions to the Disney Princess roster, who more or less was just standing there with a vacant stare on her face, as Jengar was using hypnosis to lure her into a hypnotic trance and then jumps directly into her, seizing full control of her body. She glared at the girls for the scary expression on her face. Free the master, she said. Menacingly, the looks on the girls' faces instantly turned to ones of fear, as suddenly a mishmash of colors, dark red, said light purple and yellow lights began to flash around them, as many of them fell into a deep trance, and it seems as if the actress playing the part of the Rapunzel was now levitating in the air. A man grabbed a hold of this daughter as she blacked out. What kind of fucked up performances is this? He said, and suddenly balls of energy that looked like they came directly out of the color version of the Dragon Ball Z manga began to gather around her. Free the master, and maybe I want the souls of your daughters, she said. She was lying, of course, but that didn't stop the least man in the crowd from screaming out the word succubus at the top of their lungs. Venusaur and Florian finally found their master locked up in Disney's detention center. They were quick to explain who they were and why they were there. The boy, he really didn't get what was going on. He truly believed he had fallen asleep and that this was all just a dream. If it was going to get him back on and on his laptop, he wasn't going to question it. His sister, on the other hand, would not want to leave Disneyland. She had thrown nothing short of a pink stink to get there, and leaving after 48 hours wouldn't resort in anything but a temper tantrum. She was currently in one of the crowds watching every creation of Walt Disney's 1937 classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, when Jengar had long since grown weary of the body she had taken possession of. She sought a new body, a body that she could use to mess with her master's spoiled little sister, and when she saw the perfect candidate, as the actress who played the dearest Snow White leave there, Jengar floated off without being seen, knowing she took something to make the performance more realistic in her body, perfect for possession, so she just jumped into her body. When the actor playing the prince stepped on stage, she knocked him backwards, hopped off the stage and approached her master's parents and sister, Venusaur and Florian had gotten their master into the office of Disneyland's manager to strike a deal like, "I want to leave, send me and my family back to our hotel. That's all you got to do and this whole PR nightmare will come to an end, I promise," the boy said. As for his family, Jengar and her new body deciding that she could be a lot more to her master than just a mere minion, as she instantly began to flirt with the boy's father, trying to convince him to dump his wife for her. "Wow, I get a new princess, mommy," the spoiled little sister asked, "Stuff it, brat. After the marriage, either your real mother keeps you or I send you to military school." A look of shock and dread emerged in the little girl's face. Back in Disney's detention center, the boy gave Disneyland security one final ultimatum: "Send me and my family out the snorefest you call an amusement park and I'll end the PR nightmare. This is your last warning, because I still have a moemon who hasn't made an appearance in your crappy parking yet." The boy and his family were swiftly escorted out of Disneyland. The boy, he played moemon on his laptop. His spoiled sister sat there with an enraged scowl on her face. As he went through his moemon, that he noticed something. Jengar's sprites now resembled somewhat of an anime version of the diversion of Snow White from Disney's 1937 animated film. "I'd like to keep my name anonymous. I was once a programmer working for Nintendo on the latest Pokémon game. I was sitting at my computer in the middle of the night, doing the rounds, as usual, when suddenly my computer started glitching out. It fitted some kind of weird virus. Next thing I know, my computer is on this ROM site showing me what I thought to be a mere ROM hack. At the time, as you can probably guess, it was the name of the ROM hack was moemon. The next thing I know, the screen went black and words began to appear in a light blue text. "They murdered us. They tried to hide us away. They called misogynistic and said we were unmarketable and that mothers would hate us and cause them to turn against video games, like the American one turned against comic books." I paused and an empty text box opened up, but the words outside of it continued, "We're so very lonely, would like to talk." I was both scared and intrigued at the same time. Half of me thought this was a prank by some jackass among the higher-ups, but the other half of me was interested to see what these weird Pokémon girls and women had to say. We talked for hours. Apparently moemon was the original plan for Pokémon, by focus groups didn't exactly react well to the concept. Then suddenly they said, "Run, you have to leave. Nintendo will kill you just like the others." But they also told me where I could find the drive containing all of the original data and concepts from moemon. I faked being sick to get out of work, but I did it competently enough to sneak the drive out with me. When I made it to the parking lot, my car was on fire. That event was 2 weeks ago, and now I'm currently being hunted by one of Nintendo's associates, a gun for hire, the type of man whose job it is to take someone's life in cold blood and make it look like an accident the same way Nintendo killed moemon.